In today's video, I can't wait to share with you the manifesting technique I used to sell my business for 7 figures, and to the exact buyers I had envisioned selling to. I'm also going to share how we breeze through what is usually the hardest part of the selling process. I'll be sharing in a future video how I grew this business and one other business to 7 figures in under 2 years. But today I'm going to focus on how I sold this business and got exactly what I envisioned for a sale. I started my home decor business in 2019. I used the same techniques to grow this business as my first one, only I was able to grow this one much faster since I had experience. Because the business grew so quickly, we were faced with many storage problems, and by the end of 2021, this had become a massive issue for us. My partner and I were faced with a problem that only had 2 solutions. We were going to be forced to put up a new warehouse that would cost several $100,000 or sell the business. We were also at a crossroads in our relationship as a couple and business partners. This was very much my business and always had been. He was somewhat forced into it due to the rate of growth we experienced. He wanted out, and at the time, I wasn't able to buy him out and grow the business on my own. I just didn't have the capacity. The only option was to sell. If you watched yesterday's video on how to expect abundance, you know that I'm a big believer on changing the negative aspects to positives. I didn't feel 100% ready to sell this business. I knew I could grow it even more, but given the circumstances, I didn't have much choice. I started making a list of all of the positives of selling the business. A 7-figure selling price meant a lot of things. Freedom to enjoy a year and not really have to work if I didn't want to. More time to spend with my daughter, enjoying the last few years of school she had. More time and money to travel. The ability to grow another business that I really loved, which is my favorite phase of business. More time to focus on my health and fitness goals. The ability to reduce a lot of stress in my life. The freedom to choose a better fitting relationship if I wanted because I wouldn't be tied in with a business. There was a long list of things to be grateful for, and by the end of making my list, I was ready to sell. I wasn't only ready, but I was actually excited to sell. We started diving into the work of putting the financials together. I already knew the broker I wanted to use as it was someone I had looked into when I was wanting to sell my previous business. I contacted him and he was no longer brokering deals, but put us in touch with a broker within his firm that he recommended. I'll admit, I wasn't overly excited about having to switch to a different broker, but I went with the flow of things and knew it was all happening for my highest good. It took us about 2 months to get everything ready to sell. During this time, we were working with the new broker, and I absolutely adored him. It turned out he was actually from the town I love in California, and that sealed the deal for me. He was easy to work with and didn't laugh at us when we didn't know what we were doing, which was often. He gave us the price he wanted to list the business for, and although I thought it was a bit low, it was still a very generous number. Before selling, I had 4 things I wanted when selling the business. 1, I had a very clear vision of a husband and wife buying this business and growing it. I don't know why, I just had this vision in my head, and it's what I saw as the best thing for this business. 2, I wanted them to buy all of our inventory up front, which would add another 6 figures to our sale. 3, I wanted the opportunity to be hired back to work with them. And 4, I wanted a very easy due diligence process. I was very clear on the 4 things I was wanting. 3 out of the 4 were within my control when I agreed to the offer. The 4th one, a very easy due diligence process, I wouldn't know or couldn't control until we were going through it. Due diligence is when the buyer brings in their own accountants, lawyers, and team to look over our numbers with a fine-tooth comb. This is the most strenuous part of a process, I've been told. I've been working on a process of saying no to things until I get exactly what I desire. A lot of people settle for good enough, so they never get great. What I've learned is that great always comes around. The problem is we get scared and think that when good enough appears, we should take that deal. I knew exactly what I wanted, and I had a deep belief I could get exactly what I wanted. I envisioned the deal going exactly how I wanted and cemented the outcome in my mind as the only outcome possible. Here's how this played out when selling the business. We had 4 interviews right away. One was 2 men who were partners. They actually felt like a really great fit, and I would have been really excited to work with them. I would have stayed on in charge of creating, and they would have just been behind the scenes. They ended up not putting in an offer because logistically they just weren't sure what to do about a warehouse. We had 2 calls after that with investors that I couldn't even understand. They were from different countries, and I had a horrible time understanding anything they were saying. I knew I could never work with them on the business just because I wouldn't be able to communicate with them. They were only looking at one side of our business, and I felt they were missing the boat on the business as a whole. They both ended up putting in offers. The fourth and final interview was a man who sent a few questions via email and didn't even want a phone interview. He ended up also putting in an offer. So we had 3 offers to choose from. 2 of the 3 were for full ask, which means they were willing to pay the price we listed it for. But they wanted to buy our inventory on consignment, meaning they would only buy whatever they could sell and then pay us for it. This meant not only clearing out the business immediately and getting all of our money out of it, but we would also have to continue shipping. I wanted to say no to all 3 offers immediately. None of them felt good to me, and they didn't meet my criteria. We waited 4 days before responding to see if any more offers came in. None came. At the end of the 4 days, our broker wanted a response. My partner thought we should counter one of the offers. I stood my ground and said no. I knew our buyers were coming, and I was willing to wait. He accepted my opinion, and we ended up turning down all of the offers, to the dismay of our broker. He understood, but also thought there was at least one good offer on the table. 1 hour after turning down all of the buyers, our broker contacted us. A husband and wife investor had come forward and were wanting an interview with us. I had a huge smile on my face and thanked the universe for delivering what I was looking for. We got on a call with them, and within 1 minute, I knew they were the buyers. To make a very long story short, they put in an offer under our asking price, but to meet the asking price, they would pay me back the same amount over 3 years to stay on if I wanted as a consultant. They would buy all of our inventory up front. They checked 3 out of the 4 boxes. We accepted their offer. Due diligence was an absolute breeze. In fact, there were 0 questions. Everything checked out. Our broker couldn't believe how fast due diligence went for us. I ended up declining the offer of 3 years because I didn't want to be tied down that long. They did end up hiring me for some occasional creative work and wanted to hire me to be the face of social media, which I also turned down. The deal went almost exactly as I envisioned. This is just another example of knowing what you want, assuming that is the outcome and letting it play out in your life. The universe will always deliver, always, either for the outcome you desire or something even better. I hope you will apply this method to your life and you will see massive upgrades in every area. Have an amazing day.